Just hold on there for a second. Just hold on. You get a nice picture. Smile. Okay, come.
On my way here, I had an accident, and I have my period. So I think because today is Valentine's, maybe we are not supposed to have our periods, but I think the most important issue here is the period stigma that is actually out there. And so I've been kicked out of chambers, been told to go, shower, change, and then come back, and then I can be a senator when they cannot really see any part of my period. And I think it's sad because, you know, one of the things that we need to put is the issue on free sanitary towels. I think that's a topic that needs to be, you know, discussed, especially for school-going children, because the period poverty is real. And the period stigma, as you can see even from the chambers, is real. In fact, as I'm walking, everyone is trying to cover me because they are saying, oh, Mheshimiwa, something is happening to you. Of course, something is happening to me. I'm having my period. It's a very natural thing. I had a small accident and I ended up staining my clothes. But I think maybe the silver lining is that we can start talking about period poverty, period stigma, and specifically the provision of free sanitary towels to all school-going children. On my way here, I had an accident, and I have my period. So I think because today is Valentine's, maybe we are not supposed to have our periods, but I think the most important issue here is the period stigma that is actually out there. And so I've been kicked out of chambers, been told to go, shower, change, and then come back, and then I can be a senator when they cannot really see any part of my period. And I think it's sad because, you know, one of the things that we need to put is the issue on free sanitary towels. I think that's a topic that needs to be, you know, discussed, especially for school-going children, because the period poverty is real. And the period stigma, as you can see even from the chambers, is real. In fact, as I'm walking, everyone is trying to cover me because they are saying, oh, Mheshimiwa, something is happening to you. Of course, something is happening to me. I'm having my period. It's a very natural thing. I had a small accident and I ended up staining my clothes.
Whatever is going on, I think Gloria has achieved to get the Senate to discuss something that is pertinent. The manner in which she may have done it may be not acceptable to the senators, but periods are a natural process that women go through in this country. Mr. Speaker, there are many girls who cannot access pads, and there are many girls who get into the situation that Gloria has modeled today in the Senate. And what happens is that they get shamed. Many of them have dropped out of school. Mr. Speaker, Gloria may have done it in the most glory manner to you people or to us as a Senate, but I plead that we rule that Gloria possibly brings a substantive motion that can enable us in this country to discuss issues that we call taboo, issues that we call shame, but issues that affect millions of girls in this country who need support from us. So even as we rule, I will plead that you look at the bigger picture than at the offending aspects of Gloria or the person who is bringing the issue. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senators. Indeed, menstrual cycle is a natural act. However, there is a behavior that a woman is expected to uphold whenever they're going through that cycle period. Senator Gloria, as you have said that you are at that period, maybe 4 or 5 of our lady senators are in that period too, but they're not showing it, meaning they have taken the proper steps to deal with it. So having period is never a crime. How to handle those periods is where we begin to differ. Indeed, if you read the Bible and even the Quran, if a woman is going through her periods, they're not even allowed to touch the Bible or the Quran. So you cannot say that being discriminated against. So Senator Gloria, I sympathize with you that you're going through the natural act of menstruation. You have stained your wonderful suit. I'm not asking you to leave because you're out of order, but I'm asking you to leave so that you go change and come back with a cloth that is not stained. We appreciate you. Kindly proceed to go change and come back to the chambers. Next order.
Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
What is the point of order? Yes, Senator Kajua.
Can you, thank you. Mr. Speaker, what a way to start a session. But my point of order is based on the traditions, customs of Parliament, which, Mr. Speaker, you are very well versed with. On the first day of a session, the main business is constitution of the Senate Business Committee, which then processes the business that comes before the House. Mr. Speaker, I appreciate that the messages that you read are in the standing orders. There's a requirement that they be read at the first instance when the Senate sits. But the next order that we are going into, which is laying of papers, is neither urgent nor critical. And Mr. Speaker, even though some of the papers that the majority leader is about to lay are things that we should have done before, I wanted to get your guidance, because in the absence of a Senate Business Committee, because as we speak, we don't have a Senate Business Committee. It died with the last session. Would it be in order for this House to process business in the form of papers or any other subsequent order? Because what we have done, Mr. Speaker, this first session, the first day of the first session, is usually 2 or 3 minutes. It's usually 2 or 3 minutes. It's just to allow the SBC to be put in place. And then the SBC then can schedule. The SBC can agree on what should be in the order paper. So, Mr. Speaker, the papers, and Mr. Speaker, I beg for your protection, because...
Senator, be heard in silence, please. If you have an issue, you can make the intervention through the system, and I'll pick it up from here.
Because, honorable members, this is our first substantive...
What is your point of order, Senator Sifuna?
But I'm on a point of order. I'm on a point of order.
Yeah, he's on a point of order.
Disgust visually. I'm just disgusted.
Oh, then have your seat. Proceed, Senator Kajua.
So, Mr. Speaker,
have your seat.
Mr. Speaker, for avoidance of doubt, I'm rising on order number 43. Order number 43, as read with
Can the senator be heard in silence, please?
Mr. Speaker, the tone...
The senator is on a point of order. Can he be heard in silence?
Standing order number 43, as read alongside standing order number 190. And Mr. Speaker, the manner in which we begin a session will determine and dictate how this House is going to run for the next one session. Mr. Speaker, I'm honestly fairly disappointed that on the first day of the first session, instead of focusing on the critical business of constituting the Senate Business Committee, we have veered off into issues that can best be prosecuted using other tools that are available to us as legislators. So, Mr. Speaker, I beg that we stand down the papers that are to be tabled. It's not that those papers are harmful, but we might put in place a dangerous precedent where this House considers business when the Senate Business Committee has not been established. Mr. Speaker, I beg your guidance.
Senator Kajwang or Senator Aaron.
I don't know, Mr. Speaker, thank you. I don't know if my colleague Senator Kajwang has the same order paper, the supplementary one that has just been circulated. Because as per the order paper, once you finish listing the messages, we moved to petitions. And immediately after petitions, we moved to papers, which I guess is what is subject to his protestations. If you go to the appendix of the order paper, Mr. Speaker, and read through these papers that are being laid, I don't think they fall under the ambit of what you'd call substantive business. These are ordinary reports that we receive in the Senate. And in any case, Mr. Speaker, there'll be a scheduled time for either in regards to number 2, the report to be substantially considered, or in number 1, the same to actually find its way to a committee where he's a member. So I do not think this falls under the ambit of what you'd consider to be substantive business of Parliament. If it was a motion, if it was a piece of legislation that you want to process, then I'd be concerned just like you. But I'd wish to convince my brother, Senator Kajwang, that while his warning may be good for the order of processing business in this House, on this particular matter, Mr. Speaker, I don't think there's anything for him to be greatly or gravely concerned about, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Senator Kajwang, on your point of order. Indeed, the papers that are supposed to be laid today, what is going to happen today is laying of the papers. It is upon the SCBC, after we have constituted it, to prioritize for discussion and debate and committing of the same to the committees. And therefore, I don't see what prejudice that we're going to suffer as a House by laying